Have we reached a plateau in the bicycle industry? And the reason why I'm making this video is because I've been in the industry for about 15 years. I've been doing YouTube for about 4 years and seeing abundance of comments on bicycles that I either show off or showcase or talk about. And I always get these comments nonstop. Bike looks boring, no changes, not enough done, bikes are plateaued. It's always a topic of conversation. And the reason why I'm making this video today is because it's the year 2025. Cervelo just released their brand new R5 climbing bike, but very underwhelmingly. They had spy photos of it at the Tour de France. I believe they've been using it in some stages of the Vuelta, and some riders did use it in the Tour de France as well. I think Sepp Kuss used it. But this was a weapon that Jonas used a couple years ago in the Tour de France on some of his winning tours as well. This is their dedicated climbing bike, and it's really lightweight. This year they launched it, and in a size 56, it weighs 5.9 kilograms. Crazy, crazy lightweight. But everyone in the past Tour de France and every single bike nowadays seems like everyone's opting in for the aerodynamic advantages, and they can pretty much get any modern bike today to 6.8 kilograms, even with aerodynamics, deep wheels. We're seeing it time and time again. All of Team UAE using in the Vuelta right now are using the Y1RS with NV SES 4.5 Pro wheels on it for every single climbing stages. And they're doing stages with 13,000 feet of climbing there. It's not like the old days when the aluminum bikes were dominating and then the industry introduced carbon fiber as this new god material and then everyone went to that. Or it's not like the old days when Cervelo first introduced the S5 with the aerodynamic bike, and they first introduced aero bikes, and same with Specialized too. They had this was their 2011 Tarmac SL3 Expert. That was their go-to bike. Next year they introduced the 2012 S-Works Aero Venge, a full aero bike. They completely changed the entire bike. They completely changed the entire dynamic of how it rides. Very stiff, fast, aerodynamic, everything like that. They got massive savings of it. I think they said like this bike compared to the old SL3 will save like 5 minutes over 40 kilometers, carrying 40 kilometers an hour. Like the numbers are crazy. Now we're seeing companies time and time again not really doing a 3 year of a bike and then a massive change. It seems like all these bicycle companies are making small revisions. And this is not me dismissing the engineers and how hard they work to make this bike in a size 56 and make it 5.9 kilograms out of the box. That's crazy. There is a lot of research and development. There's a lot of technology behind it, engineering, making the tube shaped right, making the carbon fiber reinforced, finding different materials to use. But it just seems to be that, like, for instance, the Cervelo S5 will launch. It's just a little bit more aero, a little bit lighter, a little bit faster. Even the SL7 to the SL8. I personally like the SL8 a lot more than the SL7, but it's just a little bit more aero, a little bit lighter, and a little bit faster. There's not these big groundbreaking moves like, for instance, when the SL5 went to the SL6. The SL5 was all rounded bike tubes, and then went to the SL6 with a D-shaped tube, thicker forks, and it was like, oh, the bike rides incredibly different. We're not getting that kind of exposure or experience anymore when going over to these bikes. More or less now, what we're getting is just small changes and tweaks, listening to what the consumers want. And me being in a bicycle industry where I have to sell bikes, I hear it right to my face that they're like, there's not enough change for me to upgrade my last year's bike to this year's bike. They're like, I'll just wait for the next generation. I'll ride this bike out for another 3 years. And the bikes now, I mean, that's a credit to the company. They're becoming too good. They're making a bike product that can withstand 6-7 years because the differences between an SL7 to the SL8 are very subtle to the bare eye. But it's crazy because even me now, I'm even kind of getting to this point where I love bicycles. I get excited every single time a new bike launches. I like the Bianchi. I like the Cervelo S5. I like the Y1RS. But even now, there's only so much that these companies can do to stay within the UCI's guidelines to making a bicycle that is certified legal to ride for a pro event. And in this case, a lot of you guys will say you don't need a UCI legal bike because you're not going to be doing a UCI event. I will never do a UCI event. I have no reason to stay within 6.8 kilograms. I have no reason to have to worry about my bike having 2 triangles in the front and the rear. I have no reason to follow the UCI, but this is the way the industry works in terms of marketing. Riders want to ride what people are winning on, no matter what it is. And that goes across every single sport. People who play golf want to use the clubs that Tiger Woods is using when he was winning tours or majors. People who play basketball want to buy the shoes that LeBron James is wearing because they think they're going to make him play like that. People who, you can put that around any kind of sport, anything like that. They can drive cars, baseball, they want to hit the bats with it, everything. They want to buy what the pros are using. So these companies still have to stay within the UCI guidelines because they're going to be servicing bikes to these people. So how do we get away from this change? How do we get away from this plateau? The bikes still are coming out. They're still really good. And every time they do make a change, they are noticeable to an extent. If you're riding a ton, you will definitely pick up on those changes. If you're not riding a lot, you might not pick up on those changes. But I really think what needs to happen in these next couple years for this bicycle industry to continue growing, or maybe, who cares why I think, because I'm just one guy, but I think the UCI, being that its main concern is for safety of riders, I think they need to lighten up. I think they need to take that 6.8 kilogram weight limit and get rid of it. They need to go ahead and lower that, because honestly, these riders want to ride on something lighter. They need to allow these companies to push bigger boundaries. They really need to make a difference between an aero bike and a climbing bike. Is my camera still working? Yeah. An aero bike and a climbing bike. So I think the 6.8 kilograms should be going down to, what the heck is that? Where'd my camera go? Oh, hold on. I got to fix that. God, I was on a roll there. I don't even know where my camera went. Like, flung around. There needs to be a difference between 6.8 kilograms aero bike and a climbing bike. Like I said, these riders want to go ahead and ride something. And just because that's the weight limit, it doesn't need to be achieved there. But if you're getting a bike out of the box from Cervelo at 5.91 kilograms, and I've seen so many builds of these R5s coming out for a climbing bike, like 5.5, 5.1 even, why not let these pros dabble in it? I think they should make the weight limit for UCI 5.4 kilograms. Now again, it doesn't mean your bike has to hit there. That's like the limit. That's the major. That's the way on the other end of the spectrum. But again, that will give companies the extra oomph to really push for a climbing bike, to go ahead and make something different, and to give their riders an edge at it. We might see even some crazier race tactics where they race this crazy 5.4 kilogram bike up the mountain, but they want better aerodynamics going down the mountain, so they have a bike swap up there. And then for the aero bikes as well, I think they need to loosen up on these things as well and allow deeper head tubes. This is for instance the Y1RS that we all know and love. I think that this thing should be even allowed to have a deeper head tube here. And the UCI rule states that a bicycle is referred to as having 2 triangles on here. So a rear triangle back here and a rear triangle back here. Maybe even make it where you can just be one solid triangle. Let them see what they need to go ahead and do that. Obviously, there's going to be research and development. There's going to be testing. But if a pro racer really believes that they will get a benefit out of having a bicycle without a middle part to this, and they can make it even more aerodynamic, or maybe even shove more carbon fiber in there to really utilize an aero bike over a climbing bike, I say why not? For sure, I think you'll see people racing on it all day. And it gives more stories to tell. It gives more narratives to tell. I remember when Cannondale released their Super 6 Evo with the rim brakes back in the day, and they even claimed it, the bike's so light that it's illegal. Everyone wants to race it. And there was like videos of people taping wrenches to the bicycles for them to race on it and stuff like that. Like, there needs to be a difference between the wash of just like everything's just kind of grayed in right now, where like your climbing bike is 6.8, your aero bike is 6.8. Obviously, you're going to take your aero bike because it gives you a benefit there. There really needs to be a big difference there. And I think that's how you're going to get away from that plateau as well. I think there should just be less, honestly, less input from UCI. Make sure the riders are safe, obviously, but allow these companies to explore. Allow the engineers to explore. Allow the research team to explore. Give them some crazy building power so that way it can result back to the consumer. Because me telling you guys my first, what's that? I don't even know the word I'm looking for. My first opinion on it, I'm getting like the customer interaction when they walk in my store. That's what they tell me. A lot of the bikes look the same. From that 2020 to 2023 period, almost every single bike looked like an SL7. Drop seat stays, integrated everything. Like you had the SL7, the NV Melee, Super 6 Evo, I'm sure there's other bikes that look just like it, but all very similar. Let these companies be different. I mean, when Specialized made the Venge Vice, then you had the Super Six, you had the System 6. You had all these companies making their own proprietary parts for these things. I know consumers might hate or bitch about consumer parts or proprietary parts, but it allowed the companies to be different. It gave their bike like this custom silhouette, and everyone knew, hey, that was a Specialized, or hey, that was a Cannondale. Now these bikes are like, everyone knows how fast and aerodynamic a S5 is. Now you see Scott Foyle doing it. Now you see the Bianchi Ultra RC doing it. A lot of people are adopting that kind of tucked in rear wheel there. So I don't know. This is just my take on it. This is just what I'm hearing from my customers and my friends, my people, the people I ride with and everything like that. I think that there needs to be more options. And the only way that we get there is we go ahead and the UCI lightens up. Now, I think a lot of these companies are missing out because they should market this in a different way. If they don't want to sell a bike that's for the UCI, put it as all the pros want to ride this illegal bike or something like that. You know, make a bike that's like crazy aero. Don't follow the UCI guidelines. Make a bike with a massive deep head tube on an aero bike and be like, this is the bike that all the pros want to use, but it's illegal. The regular consumers will ride it. I'll ride it in a group ride. Other people ride it in a group ride. You know, I think those bikes will still sell, but I think a lot of the manufacturers are scared that if it doesn't fall within UCI guidelines, that it's going to scare away a lot of people who do use it for those events. So, but let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think that I'm just rambling on about this? Do you think that bikes are different? They have differentials to it? Or do you think that there needs to be some kind of change? Because I don't see where this is going to go. I don't see there being a new super material that's going to come out that's going to replace carbon fiber. I know some companies will mess around with magnesium. Titanium's out there, but it's not really like a race bike. Carbon fiber is just so well. And also it's a low cost expense as well, so these companies can make money off of it. But it's super light, compliant, stiff, everything you want it to be. Unless there's a new material that's whipped up in a lab that's like product X, that's like carbon fiber intertwined 3D printed with titanium. Who knows? But at this point, a lot of these bikes are falling into a same silhouette of all of each other, and I think there needs to be a change. I think the industry needs to go ahead and get rid of that 6.8 kilogram weight limit, make some differences, allow companies to explore their climbing bikes, make some crazy aero bikes, and really give character back to these bicycle companies. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.